Welcome back to another rpgmaker tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to do area IDs for tile sets. So with that said, let's get started. All right, so here I am in a benchmark sample project, and real quickly, the area ID of a tile means that if you are going over it or if you're touching it, that you will be able to recognize that you're touching a certain tile or overlapping it within the visual scripting. You can see that if we go to our player object right here, if we go to variables, we have a variable that is called stayed area ID. Okay. Now this is -1 if you are not in any kind of an area or touching an area, and it will change depending on the tiles that you set. All right. So how you simply can do that is you go to a tile set that you have, and you got to click on tile sets right here. You can then click on select, and you can start to select the tile. I want this tile set right here. I want to grab some of these right here. And if you go to tile effect right here, you can see that we have this area value. And in order to actually put a number on here, you have to click area value enabled. And then you could say it's a 1. And then the next thing that we can set up is, do we want it when it's on contact? So the tile is affected by the player and the player is affected by the tile. So when they collide, the player stops. That's the kind of thing by contact. Or is it going to be an overlap where the player can walk through the tile, but it just will know when it is walking through it? All right. So generally, overlap is pretty good. I'll also do one for maybe touching the fence here, but let's just do overlap for now. Then the last thing we got to set up is the group. So we need to say, hey, these are the groups that we want to be affected by it. So this is going to be the player group, for example. So now we have this all set up. We can actually just paint some of these tiles here. So let's grab this tile right here and let's go like this, create an area right here. And then we're going to see this work in action. So real quickly, when we go to the player here, we're going to go to the visual scripting, and we're going to add a new state and make it initial state. And then we're just going to have it go unconditionally to the idle so that it just kicks it off. And right here, what we want to do is we just want to have this display some text, and it's going to display a variable, and specifically it's going to be this objects. And so it's going to be the player right here. And we're going to have it display the stayed area ID. We're going to enable digits, say 2 for now. 0 padding, sure, we'll show the zeros, and we'll hide decimals. The duration will be on, and then we will have no background. And let's just make it just a little bit bigger. And there we go. So when we playtest this thing, we should have a display text show that is showing -1 because that is the ID that we're on, okay? So now if I go down into this group right here, you can see that it changed to 1. And it naturally did that when I started to overlap it, all right? Now, when exactly does it turn into 1? All right? That's a key question. So if you go to your player right here, you can see that the center, basically the center of this node right here, is right here by its chin. And that is the point that it is detecting when you go in. So if you wanted this to be more at the feet, then you would need to set up this object so that the feet is more right here. And how you could easily do that is using this offset right here, but you would have to make sure that it's set up in the animations, which it is not. So I'm just going to leave it where it's at. But basically that is how you are detecting it, is right here on the center. So again, if we go to the sample project here and we go to the tiles and we try to find the fence that is being used, which the fence might be in these ones right here. And sure enough, it is, but I just got to find the right one. And it looks like it's these ones right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to tile set here, select, and I'm going to select all of these fences because I think it's using all of these fences. And that is, yeah, it must be using all of these fences. And then we're going to go to the area value right here. We're going to say this one's going to equal 2. And then we're going to make it on contact with the player group. Okay, so now it's on contact. And since the fence is collision for the player, this will work when the player is actually touching the fence. So now let's make ourselves a little faster because I think that it's pretty slow for the base movement. All right, so if we playtest the setup that we had, we can see that if we move over to the wall, it should turn to 2. We can see that it's not turning to 2. So the area is working, the overlapping, but the wall detection is not. And that is because there's one more setting that we have to set in order for that to happen. You got to go to player and you have to hit enable tile effect. And then we can playtest this. And then if we touch the fence on contact, it will work. And you can see that it changes to 2. Okay, awesome. Now, how is this useful? Okay, I've done videos in PGM where, depending on the tile, let's just say that this is water. Okay, when the player touches the water, the player then goes to a swim animation. So let's just, for example, pretend that this is water right here. So real quickly in the visual scripting, I'll just show you how that can look. So we have this normal action right here. And so you would register the ID based on your movement. So all we would really need is the movement one duplicated right here. And then we could have a new state right here. And this would be called the swim. And you would want a swim, basically you would want a swim idle. And then you would want a swim movement. You would also have to make animations for them, swim movement. And then you would sign a proper animation here. But let's just say that this was all set up for some random reason, okay? But what we would do is from the move right here is we would make a link that says if let's go to change or variable change, if the variable of this object's state ID, if it is equal to 1, then we know we're in water, and then we're going to move into the swim stuff. Additionally, we would need another shortcut right here, and we could just copy this one. And then inside of this one, we're actually looking for if it is 0 or actually -1. If it is -1, then we're not in water anymore. We're not in anything. So we're just going to go back to normal move. And we can do this just from the move state because from the idle state, you wouldn't have moved in order to register a new one. So really, it would only be, it could be this clean as far as your logic for just basic swimming. So that is the real benefit of using these area IDs, is because you can know where you're at and then react accordingly. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments below. You can also go to the guild forums or the official Discord. We'll get you figured out. That said, I'll see you at the next video.